Hello, everybody, and welcome to this quick hit interview with one of our former interns who has some exciting news to share about a future career for herself. We're so excited to invite Arielys Liriano back to the council. She was an intern with us from 2019 until 2021, spanning something, most of you may remember as a big issue for especially college students trying to get their education, the global pandemic. But she stuck with us throughout it. We had a great time working with her over the years. You can go back and see some of the interviews and discussions we had with her as an intern. But Arielys, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to be back.
So we'll share your news a little bit, but I wanted to first just get an update from you on what you've been up to since your internship with the World Affairs Council.
Yes, so I was interning for the World Affairs Council when I was doing my bachelor's at Southern New Hampshire University. And after my graduation back in 2021, I directly pursued my master's degree in international governance and diplomacy. So the World Affairs Council really fits right in terms of the theme of international affairs. So after I graduated and did my master's, I went and I particularly did my master's in France. So I was abroad and was able to gain that international perspective. And after graduating from my master's back in July of 2023, I was doing a couple of internships in different organizations. And now in September, I'll be starting a new role in the United Nations International Atomic Energy Agency, where I'll be focusing on projects and their technical cooperation program to help countries implement nuclear energy in peaceful matters and means, and really learning how to help out countries in that international level.
That's great, and we're really excited for you. Congratulations on all the hard work that got you to where you are today. You mentioned you did your master's degree in France, and one of the cool things that I remember was that we had a different intern who was doing his master's program in France just before you were heading out there. So you were able to connect with him, and was there anything that came out of those conversations that helped you prepare for your experience, or were you able to meet up with him while he was there?
Yes, so I wasn't able to meet up with him in person because then by the time I got there, he had already left. But he was able to give me a lot of great tips in terms of acclimating into the country and some of the administrative things. And once I was there, I think if someone decides to pursue a master's in France or just education in France, I think it's pretty welcoming for international students. And there's a lot of different programs in place, particularly from the university level and the government level, to help students acclimate to the country and have a smooth process.
Well, I'm glad we were able to make that connection for you, and that it helped you prepare a little bit for your time in France. Just thinking back to your time with the World Affairs Council, what were some of the things that you remember from your work with us, and anything that you could really point to as helping you along in your career path?
Yes, so for me, one of the memories that I fondly look at upon is the fact that I was able to really connect with other interns and other individuals working for the council and really plan out events. And these events, because they're global affairs oriented, we were able to really have different perspectives. So I remember one of the events was for International Women's Day, where we were able to have a great panel of women in medicine and in different fields speak about the work that they're doing internationally. And I think in general, the World Affairs Council really prepared me to have this international perspective and really have a wider network of more experienced professionals that have been breaking barriers and seeing what they're doing, and really inspired me in my future career path.
And now, not all of our interns come from New Hampshire, but many of them do, including yourself. So what would you say to students of high school age now who are thinking about, well, maybe I am interested in the world. Maybe I do want to pursue an international career. What thoughts and insights would you like to share with them?
Yes, so I think one of the things that I would suggest for any student is to really get involved in your community, be an active citizen. So, right away, you might not have the internship or job of your dreams, but I think as long as you're able to think about how you want to make your own impact in the world, and perhaps that's starting out and volunteering with a local organization. Maybe it's focusing on education, maybe it's focusing on refugee issues, depending on where you're coming from and the different organizations that are around. I think getting involved with nonprofits is a great avenue to begin with in your journey, and just in general becoming a more well-rounded citizen. And then from there, I think with education, the more that you continue pursuing your bachelor's, your master's, the more opportunities that open up. But keeping in mind that you should always try to be involved and see how you're able to make a difference locally, and then from there you can span internationally, because I believe a lot of these organizations internationally, they truly value seeing that someone has been actively involved in their community or wherever they end up going. If, for instance, you go from Connecticut and you're studying in New Hampshire, get involved in your New Hampshire community while you're there. So just try to be really involved and seek out opportunities where you can.
One of the challenges that World Affairs Councils across the country see is engaging younger people. There's a lot of demands on younger people's times, whether it's academics, sports, social media, having friends, all that fun stuff. How should young people approach these organizations, and why is it in their interest to be involved in global conversations?
Yes. So, in approaching organizations, I think a lot of the organizations in general, like you said, they're really looking to get the youth involved because they are the future of tomorrow. And I think, in terms of thinking about how to get involved as a young person, as long as you're reaching out, there are a lot of general contexts when you go on a web page that have a person that's in charge of engagement, and you can see how you're able to get involved, whether it's starting as a volunteer or seeing if there's an internship opportunity. And I think organizations in general sometimes are having this challenge because sometimes students just don't know, or young people in general, they don't know about these opportunities. But I think as long as someone who is really actively looking, they'll be able to find a topic and a way to get involved. And organizations in general are really just looking for anyone to get involved, as the World Affairs Council of New Hampshire was when I was interning.
Okay, I have one final question for you before I turn it over to you for any final thoughts. But what is most exciting to you about having a international career where you are going to be living abroad, I assume, and having some really unique experiences?
Yeah, so for me, I think one of the biggest advantages is being able to connect with part of the global community. This world is so big, and when you have an international career, you get to meet people coming from all walks of life, and particularly professionally, this is really enriching because you get to have this multinational perspective. And when we're trying to solve global issues, it really requires a lot of collaboration and really learning from others and seeing how you're able to create synergies and collaborations. And in general, I really look forward to beginning more of my career path international in the international domain, because I think when we look at issues domestically, it's very important to always still consider those. But internationally, when you have an international career, you're able to try to see how you can make an impact on a more global level through these collaborations.
Well, thank you again, Arielys, for your insights and for taking the time. I always like to leave our speakers with the opportunity to have any final thoughts or share anything that we might have missed. So I'll turn it to you for that now.
Yes, so I would say for any young person looking to get their foot in the door, I think what you really should do, as I mentioned earlier, is try to get involved in your local community, whether it's through the community in terms of volunteering and then seeing internships and seeing what opportunities those will lead to. Because the more you try to build up upon your previous experiences, the more likely that you'll be able to have more of these doors open. And there's a lot of programs out there for young people, especially if you're a US citizen, yeah, there's a lot of programs for internships that you're able to do, and they get both paid and unpaid internships. And then there's also young professional programs out there that really allow you to break into these international organizations and try to open up more means of avenues for your future career.
Well, thank you again, Arielys. We really appreciate it. And if you are watching this today and know someone or yourself want an internship with the World Affairs Council of New Hampshire or any of our sister organizations, please reach out today. Thanks so much for watching.